Okay, this is from your post MCC2 scenario here. So I'm going to walk you through how to do the final approach and breaking gates to the command module here. So first thing we're going to do is just going to go ahead and get out of program 41. Go ahead and turn this off here. And right now we still have a good rendezvous radar lock. Of course, you're not bore sighting the CM right now, which you should have been for the MCC, but that's all right.
Rotation.
So what I'm going to do right now is go to DAP attitude hold and null these rendezvous radar needles. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and change the DAP load. And load program 47. That'll monitor any translation motions we make. And once that's up, we'll go ahead and bring up the radar self-test, which will give us a digital display of nautical miles instead of just feet here. So verb 63, proceed, and then now in 78, this is range now in nautical miles, so this is 2.53 nautical miles, and this is our closure rate, 35 feet per second, which matches up with the rendezvous radar tape meter here. So right now we're just waiting on our first breaking gate, which would be at 1 nautical mile, or 6,000 feet, so this will read 100, and when this reads about 6,000 feet, so at this time it's a little bit of hurry up and wait. What I will do in the meantime is update the command module with the lunar module state vector, that way we can get a final attitude later. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do that real quick. Give it a good state vector of a command module state vector here. And then a lunar module state vector. We're also going to have to reset the service flag with a verb 45 when this is done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in P20 and start VHF marking. That way it'll keep an eye on the LEM's changes in state vector as it approaches. Should all be good, yeah. Okay, CSM is going to maneuver. And we're still not quite at our breaking gate here. In the meantime, I'm going to put the cross pointer in low. As you see, our translations relative to the CM is not that bad right now. And we're waiting on 1 nautical mile here. At this rate, we're probably not going to have to use any braking. Looks like it's going to come up to right about 30 feet per second at 1 mile, which is good. That means our TPF went well. Switch back to the command module for a second here. Watch it maneuvering around. This is just P20 tracking attitude. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up to track the LEM and take automatic VHF marks while we approach.
Translation, rotation.
Okay, coming up there, getting a little close. I'm gonna just pulse these needles down just a touch. As you can see, I'm just barely thrusting just to kind of center them up a little bit. They're going to dance around a little bit as we approach, because as we approach, the closure rates change in all the axes, so our relative velocities will seem to be increased as we get closer. The rendezvous radar error will get greater because it has to move more to track the CM. So you'll see it kind of drift like that, but that's perfectly fine. See our cross pointer there. Our relative Y velocity is not that bad, but our X velocity is a little bit off. So what we'll do is we'll null that after the braking gate here. Coming up on 6,000 feet, which will be about 1 mile on the disky there. And actually we're right about 30 feet per second, so we don't have to do any of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to null the rendezvous radar needles here.
Translation.
And then I'm going to thrust minus X in translation.
Rotation, translation.
And we'll just go a couple pulses just to kind of bring that up to 0. It's not going to be perfect. Let it settle out.
Rotation.
Go back to rotation. Null these out again.
Translation.
Alright, you see that's more or less centered there. It's not quite perfect, but that's fine. That's what our next gate's for.
Rotation.
And then our next gate is at half a nautical mile. About 3,000 feet. Gonna check the CM. Still maneuvering. So at half a mile, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change the closure rate, and then we're going to null the cross pointer, all while the rendezvous radar needles are centered or nulled. Rendezvous radar is rotation, and the cross pointer is translation. Coming up on 3,000 feet.
Translate rotation.
So we'll pulse a little bit to get these needles centered again, the rendezvous radar needles centered again.
Translation, rotation.
There we go.
Translation.
And we will thrust minus Z to 20 feet per second on the tape meter there. Now we will null the cross pointer. So a little bit of Y. Basically you have to let it react too. You have to thrust a little bit and then it'll come back. Thrust a little bit, it'll come back. Then X. Okay. More or less centered there. Now we're just waiting for our
rotation.
Next braking gate.
Translation, rotation. Translation.
last braking gate here to 5 feet per second. Okay. And I'm gonna, since the rendezvous radar
Rotation.
needs to know a little bit more here, we're gonna pulse it around.
Translation.
There we go. So you see how the cross pointers are pretty much centered. The rendezvous radar is pretty much centered. And if I look out the window, there's a command module right there, right in the COAS crosshairs. So once I get to about 150 feet or so, I'll go ahead and null the forward velocity. Now I'm not going to be able to take any more marks with the CSM, so I'm going to update the LEM state vector one last time on it. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do a rendezvous to final attitude routine on it. And I'll show you that in just a second. But as you can see, we're still locked on, still pretty much straightforward there. And I'm going to go ahead and just null out these last couple errors here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and
rotation. Translation.
about 150 feet or so, we'll go ahead and slow that down. There we go. And that is pretty much station keeping right there. Now we can just use it to do it all visually. So it's drifting down a little bit there, so we'll just go ahead and fire a little bit of -X. You'll see the cross pointers reacted. Okay. Next thing I'll do here is go ahead and just go to CMC mode free, or 56, update a new state vector, and we'll do a rendezvous to final attitude. Normally the CSM will be taking marks and updating the state vector as it goes, so you'll have a good CSM state vector, or excuse me, LEM state vector at this point. But since you didn't do that, we're going to go ahead and just do it with the RTCC and then maneuver. But you can also see that LEM is right there, waiting to go. Okay, and we'll do a verb 89. COAS option, option 2. Proceed. And proceed. That should maneuver the CSM around to face its COAS towards LEM. And we'll just go ahead and wait in the LEM here. Just kind of keep an eye on things. See, we're still closing a little bit here, so I can
rotate translation.
Kind of null that out a little bit. See, the CSM is slowly pointing itself to face the COAS towards the LEM, which is what we want. Not too bad, huh? See, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close. So this point, we can go ahead and go to hold.
Translation. Rotation.
We'll get the limb and the coas. And then from here, you just pitch down the limb and yaw it, and then align up the CSM for docking. Go ahead and do that now. Here, or 34, enter. Control pulse. To release. Program 47, excuse me. Okay, program 76, enter. Minimum. coas overhead. Exterior lighting dock. And now we are face to face with the CM there. You can actually see the docking target there at the CM as well. So what we need to do is we need to rotate, or 60 degrees to the left. I just follow the checklist here. So there we go. For 41, 72, enter. This redesignates the rendezvous radar to move out of the way. And once it's there, which it basically is, we'll go ahead and pull the breakers. Curve 44 to quit designate. And now we will pitch down.
Rotation. Translation. Rotation.
I'll go ahead and actually. That's my here. Okay, face the CM here. Down.
Translation. Rotation.
There it is. Okay. Problem is I've got hard overrun right now, which makes it more challenging. See the docking target there. Just gonna kind of roll until this should be a roll of 60 degrees. That's what we're doing now. Not perfect, but kind of gets us where we need to be. And then we can go to Columbia. Go ahead and might need to change the field of view back 60. There we go. That docking target in view. About there. Oh, looks like you've used a little bit too much RCS there. Enter. Attitude holds on. Good, good. And then now we can call it program 47 here. Change state vector.
Translation.
And we will translate. As soon as this comes up. Okay. Power is on. So I'm translating to get the docking target centered. As you can see, the attitude got kind of close there, so we'll have to do a little bit of rotation. Translation. There we go. And we'll put the lem on to hold off. And that's it.